Welcome everyone to another edition of The Rundown. I'm your host, Mike Revollo, and joined by none other than the Rapids legend, Drew Moor. Drew and I are going to talk about FC Dallas versus the Colorado Rapids, the match that is meant to be made up after not playing it midweek the previous week. But to start, Drew, we're going to look back very briefly just on the disappointing loss that the Rapids had at Houston. 5-1, not the typical resolute defense that you see from this side, if anything. But on the positive side, that you see a Cole Bassett that's in form, full of confidence. He's scoring, contributing to play with a nice cheeky goal, the consolation goal in there against Houston. What have you made of Cole's performances over the last few weeks?
Cole, I think I said it about a month ago, just looks like he's got his mojo back, you know. And I don't know exactly what it is. He's played a little bit deeper in midfield, which I think frees up a little bit more time for him when he gets on the ball. He's so good at making those late runs into the box and getting on the end of crosses. And he's dictated the run of play a lot for the Rapids in attack. And so seeing him get on the score sheet, seeing him get assists as well. He's a big player for the Rapids right now, especially in attack, and just his energy and his work rate and his legs earn him a lot of space and freedom, and we're seeing the benefits from it. Love to see a couple more guys get goals, obviously, and get on the end of some positive play. But if it's got to be Cole, it's got to be Cole, and he's certainly done a good job.
This is the Cole of old, if you will, back to 2020. We talked about this not too long ago, Drew, where in 2020 he would make those late runs from the midfield, find his goals there, just being opportunistic, making those runs from deep. But then once he went to Europe, I think he did change his game a little bit or added a little bit more to his game. I think you're seeing all that starting to come together now, seeing this version of Cole that we see in this day and age, which is great. And I'd love to see a homegrown of the Colorado Rapids doing his thing out there, contributing to this group to close out the season. So that is that in terms of what the result was against Houston, but Cole finding his form, doing so well in these past few weeks. But now we got to look ahead to what is a makeup match against FC Dallas, where the weather impeded. Dallas, they still have to fight for a playoff spot, at least try to, one, fight for a playoff spot, and then two, see if they can try to play at home. So there's plenty at stake for FC Dallas. At this point, you feel like the Rapids are here just to kind of play the spoiler, if you will.
Yeah, the Rapids, and you have to embrace playing the spoiler. This is an FC Dallas team that the Rapids know well, right? A lot of playoff appearances against each other, MLS Cup appearance against each other, and FC Dallas is going for a spot in the playoffs. They're not in, they're not guaranteed to be in right now, and their form hasn't been terrible. They haven't lost a lot of games, but they haven't won a lot of games in the last 9 or 10, right? They've had a lot of draws, especially at home. And so they're gonna bring everything that they have to get the result. And the Rapids, while they're playing spoiler, they're also playing guys for contracts, whether that be here or elsewhere. And it's a big opportunity to go and play spoiler and embrace kind of being the villain at FC Dallas, which the Rapids have done well, the past 10 or 12 years. And so I expect it to be no different. I expect a playoff type atmosphere because Dallas are looking for the playoffs and Rapids are trying to keep Dallas from getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, having to make up this match has changed things up a little bit. So we forgot to mention actually some call-ups for a couple Rapids players, with Diego Rubio getting called up to the Chilean national team to play in World Cup qualifiers for them. Moise Bombito also getting called up to the Canadian national team for a friendly against Japan. So that'll change things up for the Rapids, whereas FC Dallas, it seems like they're going to keep most of their squad. Their talisman, who is Jesús Ferreira, the one that really gets them going, will be there. Jesús Ferreira, amongst others, plenty of players to keep an eye on for the Rapids, missing a couple guys along the way as well. But of course, FC Dallas at Toyota Stadium, it'll be a difficult test nonetheless, regardless of Dallas's form or how they've been of late, as Drew mentioned. And of course, you, the fans, can catch that match between FC Dallas and the Colorado Rapids on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. It is on Saturday, October 14th, with kickoff set for 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time. That's it for this edition of The Rundown.